Just like I said, it's
Hey
been pretty
everybody,
busy.
welcome to another OG55 live with my dear friend Mr. Vast Sky, host of Freshly Squeezed. How you doing today, Dre?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Sorry about that. I kind of walked over the intro. But that's all right. That's all right though. We're good. We are live. See, this is a live show, everybody. This is live. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't. Anything could happen. It's crazy. It's pandemonium. It's wild.
It's
Glad to be
wild.
here.
And Aaliyah, our friend of the channel, dear friend of the channel, says hi. I smashed that like button, Aaliyah. Thank you for smashing the like button. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very nice.
Yes, yes. So, Dre, today we're talking Disney Plus Day, man.
D Plus Day. This is an interesting one. It's got a lot of reactions from a lot of different corners of I don't know, Disney fan culture, pop culture, whatever you want to call it. Even some Disney Parks guys got involved and voiced their opinions about the whole thing. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. We're going to kind of break it down because there's a lot of information. And obviously, we're not going to go through every single piece of information because there was just so much. And quite honestly, a lot of our audience doesn't care about a lot of the stuff that was announced.
Right.
Really, what I really want to focus on is the elephant in the room. Okay, which is the official announcement of season 3 of High School Musical, the series. I think that's the big dog in the room. I'm just kidding.
Well, look, I know your propensity towards High School Musical yourself personally, so I see he's joking, folks, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That could be a big priority for you.
I'm half joking.
I see. Okay.
I'm half joking. No, I'm just kidding. But like honestly, the first segment is gonna be Lucasfilm and Marvel. That's a juicy one. That was really, in all seriousness, the heart of the matter in terms of yesterday's D Plus Day. Then we're gonna get into some Disney animation and Pixar and kind of talk about what announcements were made for that. And then we'll get into your viewer comments, your super chats, your questions. We're going to talk about all of it. So ready to dive in, brother?
I'm ready to dive in. Let's go. Let's do
it. Okay. So let's start off with, give me 1 second here. Marvel. Okay. So Marvel, this is the thing with Marvel, okay? It seems like every time Marvel, there's an event or a con or whatever that Marvel is a part of, Marvel always manages to be the belle of the ball. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the D23 Expo, whether it's Comic-Con, whether it's Disney Plus Day, Marvel always seems to be the belle of the ball, and we're going to talk about that. But let's go over I'm going to run down. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on each one, but we're going to kind of go over what they did. So they gave us a clip from Hawkeye, which Dre, I know you didn't see that. That clip was pretty cool, man. That clip was pretty cool. Very, very interesting stuff. It feels like classic Marvel, which is not a bad thing,
Yeah, I mean, I saw the first trailer that they had released some months back, and yeah, I mean, it feels comfortable, I guess.
Yeah,
would be the safest word to use there. Look, Marvel's going in a lot of different directions, so I think to start out with something that may be something you're familiar with before going into these different places might have been the best call, and I think that's what they did here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's premiering very, very soon, November 24th. So it's like, it's coming up. I'm excited for it. The thing with Hawkeye, though, I think the main problem with Hawkeye, and this is kind of a similar problem I had with Falcon and Winter Soldier, is that once they dropped WandaVision and they blew our minds with WandaVision and how fresh and unique and wild that series was, right? The fan base was going nuts with the speculation and all this stuff with WandaVision and just how unique it was to the MCU. Then to go back to like Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is not a bad show. I enjoyed it, but it felt like Marvel circa like 2014 or something, right? It was like Winter Soldier era. Okay.
Yeah.
Hawkeye is kind of, and even Black Widow, it kind of feels the same thing. It feels like Marvel of yesteryear. Hawkeye feels like Marvel of yesteryear. Like, I don't know, man. It's like it's good, but I think I would have liked it a lot more if it was like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like been there, done that. I'll still check it out, of course. I'm a huge MCU fan, but I don't know, man. I'm more into the multiverse right now, you know?
I know. You have the multiverse. You have the kind of the cosmic side of Marvel. You have the as you just alluded to, or just referenced earlier, the Scarlet Witch kind of Marvel. You have distinct powers coming in. You might have X-Men coming in shortly thereafter. Like it's like I said, you have these. You have a lot of things going off in a lot of different directions. And so, yeah, you're right. It does feel like a product from Marvel that we would expect like in 2013, 2014, maybe, and maybe not current, right? I think they're using this, though, as a vehicle to introduce Kate Bishop to the world and to kind of flesh out the Hawkeye character. For what purpose is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely the Kate Bishop character. Absolutely. Yeah. It'll be interesting. And look, you know, the synopsis here, it says Hawkeye reluctantly teams up with 22-year-old skilled archer Kate Bishop to unravel a criminal conspiracy. It sounds pretty dope. It sounds pretty cool. So
it does. It does.
See, you know. I don't know. It's kind of like, but like we kind of both kind of agree. It's kind of been there, done that. But maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised, right?
Hopefully, we can only hope. We can only hope.
Yep. Now here's the thing about Kevin Feige is that unlike Lucasfilm, Kevin Feige he'll knit together. It doesn't matter how far along a project is. He'll knit together a 10-second teaser if he has to. Kevin Feige's a crowd pleaser. And he gave us, from what I understand, a little bit of a Moon Knight tease. And you have that on deck, Dre, by any chance?
I believe I do. Let me just make sure that it is up to snuff before sharing it. Oh, come on. Now you're going to give me issues now. Okay, I think so. And then let me go ahead and hit the share.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and watch that together. We'll kind of pause along the way and talk about it. But
Sure. Okay, here we go.
And this is your first time watching this, right, Dre?
First time seeing this. First time, I didn't get to see pretty much anything from Disney Plus Day because that day was pretty wild. It was pretty busy for myself actually. So this is going to be an interesting process. Let's see.
Let's do it. And it's only 40 seconds, but Kevin Feige, he always comes to these things and he gives the fans something, and I appreciate that. As a fan, I really do. Go ahead, Dre. Let's go ahead and get the party started, man. Oscar Isaac.
I can't tell the difference between my waking life.
That's a crazy accent.
Dreams.
Oh yeah.
That's a crazy accent.
In your head.
So this footage right here, this kind of bathroom scene, now that we had gotten a leak, I suppose earlier, that suggested that the his full costume was going to make a final reveal there. Is that right?
His final costume? No.
Yeah, the character's costume of Moon Knight was gonna. I believe that had leaked earlier.
It might have leaked, but I don't believe we get that in this.
Yeah, we don't get that in this. But the reason I bring it up is it lends more credence to those leaks being accurate. Because
absolutely.
We do see this kind of scene there, so very interesting.
Yeah.
Devours you.
Wow, man. So,
wow.
Now, Dre, look. I'm not as familiar. My extent of my Marvel kind of knowledge kind of revolves around really the movies. You know, I don't really dive into the comics too much. Are you into the comics? Do you have a little bit of knowledge in regards to that world, or not too much?
I have a little bit. That I did do a deep dive into this was I want to say maybe a number of years ago, a deep dive into the current Marvel canon and the current Marvel comics. So I have a little bit of a foot in that door, so to speak, but not much. So when I heard about Moon Knight, I was like, who? I must confess. But Marvel has they're very skilled and have a propensity of bringing these kind of these characters with that aren't super well known, with various backgrounds and so forth, with various I would say levels of popularity, and bring them to the forefront and executing them very, very well. We saw that with Guardians of the Galaxy. That's probably the most notable example. These characters were like, then the trailer even makes reference to it. Who? Star-Lord. But we saw how those characters were brought out and how they made a big splash. I expect the same thing here. Oscar Isaac is a great name. And as we heard there, that British accent's pretty good.
Yeah, the accent's pretty interesting. And from the synopsis here, it says that it says that Oscar Isaac, as a complex vigilante who suffers from a dissociative identity disorder, the multiple identities who live inside him find themselves thrust into a deadly war of the gods against the backdrop of a modern and ancient Egypt. That sounds wild, man.
That sounds dope. That sounds dope.
It sounds really dope, man. I mean, I don't I don't know a lot about the comics. I don't know anything about Moon Knight. But first of all, number one, I love Oscar Isaac. I think he did a phenomenal job with Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think he's a great actor. He's been in a lot of great stuff. I think he's going to kill it. And just that little synopsis and that little teaser that Feige gave us, man, I'm on board. I can't wait.
I love Oscar Isaac. I really do enjoy his performances, pretty much everything he's in. I thought Poe was great, just underutilized.
Yep.
As many things were in the sequel trilogy. But no, I'm really excited. It sounds good. It sounds really good.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. So, hey, Feige again. He gave us a little clip of She-Hulk, which actually surprised me. Quite a bit. The amount of stuff that they were giving us with Marvel. But Tatiana Maslany is She-Hulk / Jennifer Walters. She's a lawyer who specializes in superhuman-orientated legal cases. She-Hulk will welcome a host of Marvel characters to the series, including the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo, Smashy, and the Abomination, Tim Roth. The new comedy series coming to Disney Plus in 2022. Now, that's kind of interesting. It's a comedy series. See, when I think She-Hulk, I don't think comedy. That's kind of interesting. That's a look. She-Hulk, especially with the synopsis, how it says that she's like kind of like she's she specializes in superhuman orientated legal cases. I don't think comedy. I think more like Daredevil, right?
Yeah, I do too. But I think they definitely want to
branch out.
You could see where the similarities might arise, and they might get some criticism, or there might be some critique as is like, oh, okay, this is just Daredevil 2.0 kind of thing, right? But I think what we're seeing here from a lot of the Marvel announcements and a lot of these series and how they're being developed and so forth, they're really trying to branch out in a lot of different genres and kind of play around with, hey, this is going to be the super spy thriller. This is going to be the more, I don't know, we just saw with Moon Knight, that's going to be a little bit more fantasy. It's kind of all of these kind of things that that offer some variety and flavor to Marvel's catalog on Disney Plus. So I think that's what we're seeing here. It's pretty cool that we had Tim Roth back for the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk. That's a pretty cool thing, because there, awesome. we occasionally make reference to that movie, but not many times. So it's good to see that.
It is, and our friend Aaliyah says here, Daredevil is rumored to be in She-Hulk. I did not know that, Aaliyah. That's very, very interesting. In fact, it is rumors that they will be entangled. LOL. So I'm assuming what you mean by entangled means like kind of like a love interest kind of situation. That's very interesting.
Perhaps that would be cool if they integrated this. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they got a new person for Daredevil, but it'd be cool to reference a Netflix series. That those were hugely popular, extremely successful. I'm
loved,
sad to see that world go.
Yeah, I loved. I think the gentleman's name is Charlie Cox, who played Daredevil, if I'm not mistaken.
So, let me just verify.
Yeah, double check on that. But I loved that series. It was dark. It wasn't. Look, it was that was kind of like the thing with Agents of Shield and kind of Marvel shows like that. It kind of had a little bit of a campy feel to it, right?
Yeah.
But Daredevil really didn't. Daredevil was that first show that was like dark and serious and gritty, and it was just like it was for adults. And I love Daredevil. Yeah, Aaliyah, thank you for that information. I hope Charlie Cox reprises his role.
It was Charlie Cox. Yes, that's correct.
Is it Charlie Cox?
It is. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That would be phenomenal. He was great in that. That
would be dope. And look, just to go off on a little bit of a mini tangent right there.
Sure,
I really did like the Netflix series quite a bit. I understand, people had problems with Iron Fist and Luke Cage to some extent, and I get that. But dude, like we got to see the Punisher. Like that was friggin' that is historically been my favorite Marvel character. So that was a pretty cool thing right there, and I loved the interpretation of that character to that format and so forth. I don't know. That was really dope. It was really cool. I was really sad when they announced the cancellations of that series because it was pretty cool. But hey, maybe we can reimagine it and kind of integrate that world, so to speak, into the Disney Plus series in some way and have those things kind of live on. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, if they bring back Charlie Cox as Daredevil, into the She-Hulk series, that's kind of the gateway for that character, that to kind of be introduced into the official MCU, and then that way, like, hey, if it catches on, maybe there'll be an official kind of like canonized, Daredevil movie with the MCU or something. Who knows? But Aaliyah, man, I mean, what you're saying, I really hope that comes to fruition, because that would be really, really awesome. And that would really bring into fold that Netflix world. Cause I love the Netflix stuff, even Jessica Jones. It just, I can't tell you how much I love what Marvel did with Netflix.
Aaliyah's got some additional comments on this that we'll have to circle back to.
No, let's talk about it. Hold on real quick. I'll bring her on real quick. Aaliyah says Blade is rumored to be in Moon Knight, and Ethan Hawke is rumored to be playing an antagonistic vampire, maybe Dracula. Man, Aaliyah dropping the heat. Dropping the heat. I mean, this is crazy. That is wild if Blade would be in Moon Knight. And that would make sense, Aaliyah, because they're doing, from what I understand, it's a Blade feature film, right? From what I understand.
Yes, I believe that was coming in eventually. Yeah. I believe Blade was going to make an on-screen appearance there, or have a movie come out. So that would make sense. Would make sense if you wanted to lay those seeds down.
Yep, absolutely. And then Michael here says, I was just listening while making coffee and heard, quote, Daredevil is going to be entangled. You heard it here first, brother.
Here first. Got the scoop. Daredevil Tangled mashup. Here we go.
Eat your heart out, Campia. We're leaking this one.
Oh, yeah.
Eat your heart out, man.
Story, too.
No, it is. Oh, man. The Campia Spider-Man stuff is like, woo. But, like, Daredevil confirmed to be entangled. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't expect that going into Disney Plus Day, but you heard it here first, right there. We got the accurate stories.
that Chapek's a madman. He's an absolute madman.
Absolutely. 100%.
So the next thing that on the docket is Miss Marvel. And it says here, the synopsis is meet Kamala Khan. She's a 16-year-old Pakistani-American from Jersey City, an aspiring artist, an avid gamer, and a ferocious fan fiction scribe. She's a huge fan of the Avengers, Captain Marvel in particular. But Kamala has always struggled to find her place in the world. That is, until she gets superpowers like the hero she always looked up to. So this is coming. It says here, Miss Marvel premieres on Disney Plus in summer 22. So this kind of reminds me of this is like more younger skewed, maybe like kind of like how Peter Parker is kind of a younger skewed aspect of the MCU, more
Correct.
high school kind of energy. And I'm thinking that's pretty much what Miss Marvel is going to have, that same kind of vibe of like a Peter Parker young woman in high school, teens, and trying to get through life, and she's got these superheroes. So I mean, superpowers and what have you. But yeah, so it's interesting. It's interesting. Absolutely.
I think so. We're getting into the realm here of, maybe Squirrel Girl and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know how I. Look, there was a reason why I got invested into the Marvel comics that were coming out and being released some years ago, because I just kind of wanted to see like where they might pivot the MCU to. And look, if it's well executed, hey, I have no issues with it. Right. More power to all these, to Kevin Feige, to all these series, to all these stars, to all these creatives. They do sound very, very interesting. They sound very, very, well formulated and so forth. And it looks like they are going to be executing on a high level. It's just, let's wait and see.
Absolutely. So this one, now we're going to kind of skim a little faster, because a lot of the stuff they're just title cards.
Right. They're just title cards. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, Echo is a series starring Alakwa, and I'm so sorry, Alakwa, if I'm mispronouncing your name. I do apologize. But Alakwa Cox as Maya Lopez, who will be introduced in Hawkeye. So, from what I understand, from what I've heard, Echo is like, I guess, the bad guy, I guess, in Hawkeye, or villain in Hawkeye, and I guess she's getting her own show already. So she's probably pretty dope in that series. Disney has a lot of confidence in that. So she's getting her own show, Echo. Mm-hmm. Ironheart, a series starring Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, a genius inventor who creates the most advanced suit of armor since Iron Man. Okay, so think like younger female Iron Man kind of vibe here. So that's what's going on with Ironheart. Again, not much to go by except the casting and the logo.
She's pretty in the new kind of era of comics for Marvel. She's a pretty important, figurehead for the kind of new Avengers that exist in that world. So I was waiting for this announcement to come out. Let's just put it that way.
Yep, and there it is. It is. Agatha, House of Harkness. Now, look, it's no secret. If you've been watching my channel for any amount of time, you know I'm a WandaVision stan.
Oh, yeah.
I love WandaVision, and I absolutely love what Elizabeth Olsen brought to the table with that character. I thought Wanda is awesome. She's like my favorite. I think honestly, she's like probably my top like 2 or 3 Avengers. She's pretty dope. But I'm all in on the Agatha spinoff. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think we'll probably see maybe Wanda in that, maybe even Doctor Strange or something. I think this has a lot of potential. And Catherine Hahn, I mean, she's a fan favorite. People really enjoyed her take on this character. But now you've seen WandaVision, right, Drake?
Yes. Yeah, I do like Catherine Hahn's performance as Agatha. So I am a huge I don't know, a huge fan might be pushing it, but I was a very big fan of that series, but big fan of that antagonist, and it's very interesting that they would come out with a series just based around her. I could see the potential for one though, and I could see kind of where that would go, and I don't know. It sounds very interesting. You're just hoping for a cameo by 70s Wanda, right? That's...
man. I love 70s Wanda. I love 70s Wanda. I think you got me.
Hey. I can't blame you.
And then we have another thing here. Let's see here. We have Secret Invasion. Which is a series starring Samuel L. Jackson, who I'm a huge fan of. I think we all are, as Nick Fury, and Ben Mendelsohn, who was in Rogue One, who killed in Rogue One as a Skull Talos, characters who first met in Captain Marvel. A crossover comic event series showcases a faction of shape-shifting Skrulls who have been infiltrating Earth for years. So this is kind of like, from what I gather, kind of like a Captain Marvel spinoff.
Yes. So you saw the Skrulls being introduced in Captain Marvel, And a lot of people were looking for the Skrulls to be, to play a pivotal role in that because of the Secret Invasion storyline. That's a huge deal, involving multiple runs in the comics. That's a pretty big storyline, pretty big deal. And we got the seeds of that, but they, it was kind of an interesting way that went about there, because the Skrulls historically had always been kind of antagonists, had always been kind of bad guys. Right. So the way they were portrayed is, kind of this, these good guys looking for a new home. That was a very interesting take on that storyline. So to have, Secret Invasion kind of be listed, I think that'll give Marvel fans a lot of hope that that some of those storylines, those iconic storylines that they remember from the comics, are actually coming to fruition.
Cool. And that's that's the thing I love about Kevin Feige is he knows how to like play to like the general audience, but then he also knows how to play to like those like diehard kind of like sweaty nerds, like that, like he knows how to kind of play to both, and he's giving a little bit of both he's giving a little bit to all sides. I think it's great. So
again, folks, that's why it's really important that your studio head actually know the material that they're working with. So
yep. Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, we will definitely get to that in one moment.
We'll get to that in a minute for sure. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. Now, this is funny. A special written and directed by Guardians of the Galaxy veteran James Gunn. Now, here's the thing, man. I'm not like a massive Guardians fan. Well, I like the first one. I really didn't care for the second one. But here's the thing, like in the vein of like a Star Wars holiday special, which was so cringy and corny and like just like, oh man, I think this could work, because I think Guardians, they just kind of have that same, like, I don't know. I could just see them being in some really cornball holiday special. It's really on brand for these characters.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of a cool thing. And really, to kind of dip into the theme parks a little bit. Maybe we'll even get like some special stuff for the holiday season. Well, I don't know. Maybe jumping the gun here, but maybe they'll change Mission Breakout a little bit to add some of the holiday special stuff. I
think that would be cool.
I think that would be
cool. I think that would be cool. You could, listen. Yeah, and they are filming they're filming the footage for this alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Shoot and the Cosmic Rewind shoot. It's kind of all one shoot. So it's Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Rewind, and Volume 3. So it's being done with the Guardians that we remember, actors, full costume. I like that kind of execution. It's authentic, And I think you're right. I think it does. I think the Guardians do lend themselves to this kind of corny kind of humor there. Hey, look, I would be all on board for a Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Maybe you could do an overlay, but even just nods to it would be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Additionally, I would like some pot shots at the holiday special from Star Wars. That kind of stuff. I think that would be that play really well. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Mission Breakout, the cool thing about Mission Breakout is that it very much is a flexible attraction. I know a lot of theme park fans don't like the screens or what have you. And even in Web Slingers, they don't like the screens. But when you're talking about Marvel, the MCU, and how Kevin Feige this is his kind of sandbox to play in.
Yeah.
The screens kind of lend themselves to this stuff because you can add, like, we don't know what's going to happen in Spider-Man No Way Home. You can definitely add some kind of weird multiverse shit like in Web Slingers if you wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And same with Guardians of the Galaxy, you can kind of throw in those holiday things because you have the projection or the screens or what have you. So there's a lot of potential there. I know a lot of park fans don't like the screens, but
yeah, wouldn't it be cool if you had like Doctor Strange, like bust out for like a segment on the Spider-Man attraction at DCA? Like that would be a cool thing, right? Well, that's what the screens kind of offer, so to speak.
Right.
Now we haven't really seen that capitalized too much in the parks, but hey, maybe Marvel's different.
Maybe we'll see. And the next big announcement. This was a big one.
This was cool.
This was really cool. I don't know if you watch Dre. Do you watch Dan Murrell at all or no on
Dan
YouTube?
Murrell.
He's kind of associated with Collider and like the Schmodown and all that. I watched a video yesterday. He was kind of breaking out Disney Plus. He was like nerding out over this. He was loving this X-Men announcement.
Let me see here if I watched the same video that you did. Yeah. I don't think I watched Den of Nerds.
Den of Nerds. Yeah, no, Dan Murrell. I'll send you the link. You should definitely check him out. He does a lot of like just kind of like real analytical guy. He does a lot of like box office like numbers and things like that. But yeah, he was kind of nerding out about this. He was saying like, Disney Plus, if they didn't announce anything else and they just announced this, he would have been happy with the day. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't know if I'd go that far, but like this was a pretty big deal. I mean, I used to love the X-Men show on Fox. Well, out here in California, it was on Fox 11. But I was really big on the X-Men animated series, and to see that they're doing a revival of that show.
No, I was a fan too. I mean, I didn't watch every single episode, but I was definitely whatever would come on, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's watch some X-Men. Yeah, this was a cool show from the '90s. I'm absolutely enthusiastic about this. This was really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's cool to see like Disney, because they just, I mean, hey, they spent what fucking $70 billion on Fox. At least start to dip your toe into the X-Men. You spent a lot of money on this, Disney, right? So I'm glad they're at least getting trying to make the best use of that $70 billion.
Yeah, you remind me. We didn't go with our intro, but no, yeah. Well, yes, I do agree. If you are going to, you want to leverage that $70 billion acquisition, $70 billion acquisition as much as possible, right? So I do agree with you. Let's get some use out of it. No, I thought. Look, again, this is what happens when you have studio heads who kind of know their audience, know the fan base, know what you produced in the past, what has come out in the past, what people have really clung on to. And, if you're going to pull something up from the past, what those happen to be, what decisions that you make, in recognizing your audience and what their expectations are.
Right.
Again, give it up to Kevin Feige. He knows what he's talking about. He knows what he's doing.
Absolutely. And our good friend Epic Berserker says it's a continuation. That is so cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's very cool. And our good friend Aaliyah says, "Oh my goodness, I plan to start watching X-Men 97 again. Last watched years ago. LOL. Early last year, 1 episode a week. Will then be done early 2023. Haha." Yeah, this show was really cool. X-Men in the 90s and Batman the Animated Series were like my go-to in terms of like superhero. And I'll even throw in Gargoyles, because Gargoyles was kind of a superhero.
Gargoyles was dope. That was underrated.
It was definitely underrated. So those were like the trinity of like really dope like superhero shows back in the 90s, animated shows in the 90s. Thank you, Aaliyah. Appreciate your comment as always. And What If announced season 2. So I haven't seen all of the What If stuff, but I've seen a bunch of them. I love this show. I think it's really fun. The animation is beautiful. Sometimes the character animation gets a little wonky and a little distracting. It's kind of how I feel a little bit about like the Dave Filoni kind of like CGI Star Wars stuff. The backgrounds, the ships and all that are really beautiful, but then like the character animation is really wooden. This show kind of suffers a little bit of that. But the storylines are really cool. I like the concept. I enjoyed it. I'll check out season 2. Have you seen this at all? Season 1 yet or not?
Have not. I must look. We should have had Aaliyah on. All right. I'm just saying. No, I can commentate somewhat about some, backstory and, some kind of, analytical, examination on these things. But unfortunately, no, I haven't dipped my toe in a lot of this stuff. I'm still, look, I saw WandaVision, but I haven't seen the other series that are currently on Disney Plus, much less all of these things. So
yeah, that's okay.
Give me time.
Okay. Yeah. What I mean, I look, to be real with you, Dre. Like, I would watch if you watch WandaVision. Next in line, I would say like maybe Loki. Loki was pretty cool, but like What If is a fun show. But I wouldn't like prioritize it over like Loki or even Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's fun though. It's definitely a good time. It's definitely cool. And then we got another animated series, Spider-Man Freshman Year, which I think Tom Holland, from what I understand, I might be wrong on this. Maybe Aaliyah knows, but I think Tom Holland is the voice of that. I think he's the voice of Peter Parker in this show. I could be wrong on that though. Leah, correct me if I'm wrong.
It is supposed to be Tom Holland's Peter Parker, kind of, like how he becomes Spider-Man, because we didn't go over that story, unfortunately, in cinematic form. Obviously, we've seen it done before. They kind of wanted to get away from that, kind of jump right into his story and how it integrates with the rest of the MCU and the Avengers and so forth. So that's why. But to have a kind of a series exploring that kind of thing, that's cool, man. That's awesome.
It's pretty fun. Spider-Man's, I'm telling you, it's not a coincidence why Chapek chose to make a Spider-Man run in DCA. It's big money, man.
Oh yeah, no, hey, historically, the most profitable from a merchandising standpoint, at least previous to this kind of modern era of Marvel. Spider-Man was the number one. So there you go.
Yep. And then we have our good friend here, little baby Groot. So cute. Aw. I Am Groot, a series of original shorts exploring baby Groot's glory days. Wow, man. Baby Groot has glory days. This guy's been around. Glory days growing up and getting into trouble among the stars. I Am Groot is directed by executive producer Christian Laporte. I'm a big Groot fan. I'll definitely watch this. I love Groot. I think he's like just the coolest little character. I'll check it out.
Speaking of merch and merchandise sales, he does move the product, so
yeah, definitely
keep relevant, right?
Exactly. He moves product. Disney, like maybe you should think about maybe a Baby Groot dark ride at Avengers Campus. I think that might do well. I think that might do well.
Don't give him any ideas.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Chapek watching is like, yeah, man, you're right. Baby Groot,
right.
Let's do a dark ride.
We could have a Fantasyland type dark ride, but with Baby Groot instead.
And then
mash him up with Baby Yoda, and then it's the ultimate duality there.
Oh, dude, the king of the franchises,
Yeah, exactly right.
Then you got Marvel Zombies, which is kind of like, in a weird way, kind of like a spin-off of like the What If, because Marvel had a whole episode. I mean, the What If show had a whole episode on these Marvel Zombies, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
We've even seen appearances of like the Marvel Zombies at DCA, California Avenger. This is kind of cool. It's an animated series from Marvel Studios that reimagines the Marvel Universe as a new generation of heroes battle against an ever-spreading zombie scourge. Sounds pretty dope to me, dude. Marvel just keeps going and going.
They just keep going and going and going. Look, the zombie episode got a lot of great feedback. It got a lot of acclaim and praise by both fans and critics alike and stuff like that. That's why they brought out Captain America as a zombie in the parks, which was a really kind of cool thing. I understand it was a little bit of a controversial move to kind of longtime fans of the parks for sure. But I kind of I was like, dude, that's awesome. I encouraged the move because it was a little bit on the edge of your side. It was a different take on it. And I was like, I was all for it. That was a really kind of cool thing. So to see them do a whole kind of series on it, that's it's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. It's kind of an interesting thing, right?
It was bold. No, it was bold. It was definitely bold. So that kind of like.
So now we got Lucasfilm, right?
We got Lucasfilm. We're gonna start off. Okay, and we're gonna go over the Lucasfilm stuff. We're gonna go over the Lucasfilm stuff, which will not take very long at all. I promise you. And then,
are you not thrilled over the Willow series?
Actually, it's kind of funny. Like, out of everything they kind of gave us, the Willow was the most like.
Oh, really?
Well, no, Willow. Not that I'm the most excited about Willow, but like Willow was kind of like the most that they gave us. Like,
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, at least we got to meet the cast.
I guess that's true.
I don't know. The whole Star Wars thing, it was like just a nothing burger. But we'll get into that. Believe me, I have a little bit of a thing about that. But Willow, which is a great movie, I love Willow. But from the set of the upcoming Lucasfilm series, Willow, Warwick Davis introduced the supporting cast. And it says here Willow will premiere exclusively on Disney Plus in 2022. So this is cool. I mean, this is kind of cool. Look.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it's kind of cool. I think when Lucasfilm kind of branches out and does these other kind of ancillary story, like Willow, Indiana Jones, I like that they're not just focused solely on Star Wars. I'm excited for Willow. I'm a big fan of Warwick Davis. I think he's really cool. But overall, I'm pretty excited. And this was kind of a nice little surprise. But what do you feel about Willow, the series?
Look, I rag on it. Going into the Lucasfilm portion of our live stream here, I rag on this only because I come from a place of love for Lucasfilm, and Willow as a series is a little bit of a kind of. I mean, I'm glad, like you said, I'm glad that they're branching out, but it's just kind of a weird thing. Like, you have all of Star Wars and Indiana Jones. Like, you could just go off in a million different directions. I mean, what if, like, the possibilities are limitless. Are just, you see just the broad the broad diversity of what we're getting from Marvel, right? We see all of these series, even on like, smaller characters and going into subcategories and characters and stories, like with Marvel Zombies, like we just got off. I mean, we're just seeing all of this stuff that they're leveraging the brand to the fullest extent they can, and then some, right?
Right.
It's just. I guess we'll get into a deeper discussion about this. Let's continue, but it's just bizarre.
It is. It definitely is. And this is where we kind of get into Obi-Wan Kenobi. It says here that star Ewan McGregor and director Deborah Chow shared an exclusive look at the series behind the scenes footage and concept art. The Disney Plus original series Obi-Wan Kenobi will premiere on Disney Plus in 2022. So I want to say right here that like the sizzle reel, which, oh my God, Lucasfilm loves their sizzle reels. It's kind of getting a little bit of annoying. It's kind of a pathé kind of thing, but they love their sizzle reels. But the sizzle reel that we got, which actually was leaked the day before, was cool in the sense that like it shows Ewan McGregor. He's talking about the Kenobi character, how it's kind of long overdue to kind of like, tell more of his story. That, Deborah Chow comes in and says like, hey, we had to bring back Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader, right? So that was kind of cool. We got a little, I mean, we already did get the confirmation about Anakin already, or Darth Vader and Hayden.
I thought we got the confirmation of Hayden Christensen and Ahsoka too.
Right. We got the confirmation in Ahsoka as well. So it was kind of like, it was nice. It was a nice sizzle reel. It just wasn't enough. I mean, there were some really nice pieces of concept art in there. But look, here's the thing. The Kenobi series wrapped. Like, it wrapped like a month or so ago. Like, they have footage of this show. Like, it's not done, no. But neither is She-Hulk. Neither is Moon Knight. And Kevin Feige said, you know what? We're going to go ahead and give the fans a little something. We'll cut like a 20-second, 30-second trailer, teaser, whatever. Right. Give that to the fans. It blows my mind that nothing was cut for Kenobi. I just don't understand it. It blows my mind. And all these sources, incredible sources, we're saying that the Kenobi teaser or trailer was coming. It was coming. It was source after source after source. And a lot of them came through on like social media, like Twitter and stuff yesterday, and had to apologize and say, hey, look, I guess we got it wrong. Look, too many coincidences aren't a coincidence. All these sources are saying that the Kenobi trailer was set to premiere yesterday. They're not all wrong. I think there was a trailer planned For some reason, Lucasfilm decided to cut it, and they didn't show it. I don't know why. Really weird move. I don't know.
There's definitely turmoil going on in that studio.
Yeah.
I think the rumors are true. It suggests mismanagement. It suggests, honestly, a lack of enthusiasm from maybe not even just Lucasfilm themselves, but even like Burbank. That, I mean, it solidifies in many people's minds that Star Wars is taking a back seat. And why is that? If these previous projects were so successful, why are we now pulling back? And everybody can make excuses all they want, but this is what we're seeing.
It's frustrating, Dre, too, because going into D+ Day, into that day, Lucasfilm had all the freaking momentum. Nobody was talking about Marvel. Everyone was talking about Kenobi. They're going into this with all the momentum. Everybody wanted to see Kenobi trailer, and leaving Disney+ Day, Marvel had all the momentum.
Yeah.
And Lucasfilm was like really battered and bruised almost. And it's like, wait a minute, what happened? Like, you had all the momentum in going in your direction. Everyone was talking about this Kenobi trailer, and you just drop the ball like that. Like, I don't understand it. Like, look, like I said before, Moon Knight and She-Hulk are probably just as far along as Kenobi, maybe even less, maybe not even as far along as Kenobi. And Kevin Feige managed to bring it. He gave us 20, 30-second teasers. Why couldn't Lucasfilm do the same? Give a little red meat to your fans. The fans were clamoring for this. You had all the momentum going into that day, and you just drop the ball like that. Wow, what a miss for Lucasfilm. What a miss for Lucasfilm.
From what I'm hearing out of that studio, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. And look, I voiced plenty of my opinion yesterday. I won't rehash it too much, but I'll just say, look, there's mismanagement, right?
Yeah.
There's. I don't think you can wave this off anymore.
No.
There's clearly something is wrong at that studio. Clearly, there's some turmoil. And there's disagreement about direction. It's the leadership is what's wrong.
Yeah.
And honestly, like we said before, I think it's just time. I think it's just time for Kathleen Kennedy to just maybe not step down and leave completely, but just we need somebody at the helm of this thing, driving the ship. We all know very intimately that Kevin Feige is driving the ship at Marvel. I don't really get the same feeling that anybody's driving the ship over there at Lucasfilm.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing too. It's like a lot of fans, and I got pushback. I got pushback on Twitter and things like that for even criticizing this. One dude told me I was throwing a tantrum. Look, I don't think it's unreasonable to assume on Disney+ Day, right?
Yeah.
Lucasfilm, which has literally nothing else in the pipeline except for Disney+ stuff. I mean, because the one movie they had, Rogue One, has been indefinitely delayed.
Rogue Squadron.
Right, Rogue Squadron. I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. Rogue Squadron was indefinitely delayed, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything Lucasfilm has lives on Disney+. Kenobi, Andor, all of it, Acolyte, all of it.
Yeah.
So it's not unreasonable to assume, and Book of Boba Fett comes out in like a little over a month.
Yeah.
It's not unreasonable to assume that we would get something, right? I mean, that's not an unreasonable request. I'm not asking for the moon on a stick. I mean, this is crazy that there would be nothing with so many projects in the pipeline. Lucasfilm, all they have is Disney Plus right now. And Marvel, who's juggling theatrical and Disney Plus,
had a huge Disney Plus presence. You're right.
Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand. And you're right. I think it really comes down to there's some kind of shakeup or some kind of weirdness going on in the studio right now. The fact that they completely pulled back and there was nothing. There's something going on. I'm not going to claim I know what's going on. I have no inside information, but the fact that they completely pulled back. And look, a lot of fans, you want to blame Chapek. That's completely a misdirected thing because Chapek also runs Marvel. Yeah, I mean, Kevin Feige has to still answer to Bob Chapek too, and Kevin Feige still manages with Bob Chapek as his boss to give us something for D Plus Day.
Yeah.
So you can't really use that excuse as like, oh, well, bald man bad, Chapek is terrible. Has nothing to do with him. Feige managed, and he has the same equation as Kathleen Kennedy. The same exact equation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Look, and it does give credence to some rumors that we're hearing that, I don't know how much we want to dive too deep into them, but that maybe that they're cleaning the slate of Kathleen Kennedy projects or led projects.
Yeah.
And maybe that's done for a reason. And that's why we didn't even get title cards from some of these other things that we should have gotten. At least, right? I mean, some of these projects have been announced previously. We didn't even get a kind of a reaffirmation of these things going forward, or at least not much of anything. So it's like, why? You could have even produced the old title cards. I mean, you like Aaliyah brought up, you brought out the sizzle reel that sent investors last year and marked as a new thing for this year for Disney Plus Day. So you could have at least pulled some title cards out and say, hey, these things are still coming. Here's some more cast or kind of info from their developments and so forth. Could have done anything. The fact that they didn't, I think, says a lot about the state of that studio and the enthusiasm that you're seeing from Burbank.
No, you're right. You're right. And look, I'll be real completely honest with you. And you know me, Dre.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a big fandom menace fan. I'm not. I mean, I know. I don't have anything against them, but I don't actively watch their stuff because I think a lot of their stuff. Look, Kathleen Kennedy has been like this close to getting fired for like 5 or 6 years now.
Right. Yeah.
And it kind of gets a little repetitive, and it does. Like, it does. It gets a little bit like white noise.
It's meant to evoke an emotional reaction, and not completely unwarranted. But yes, I do agree that your characterization of their content, yes.
And so, but I have nothing. They have every right to do the content they want to do. More power to them. Mm-hmm. I'm just not a huge fan of it, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I was sent a link to a Doomcock video. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I was sent a link to a Doomcock video that was done 3 days ago. This is long. Mm-hmm. This is a few days before the D Plus Day, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Doomcock was
Master of the Universe. Gotcha.
The what? I'm sorry?
Master of the Universe. I got you.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Master of the Universe was saying how all the projects at Lucasfilm were basically put on hold. Mm-hmm. Like they're reassessing.
Right.
And if I would have watched that 3 days ago, I would have said this guy's freaking absolutely out of his mind. He looks like a Power Ranger villain. Yeah. And he's telling us that come on, you're out of your mind, dude. Well, I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore. I'll be real with you. I don't know if Doomcock is wrong anymore. After yesterday, when we got nothing, radio silence, 0, nada, nothing. I don't know if he's wrong or not, because actually, him saying that all the stuff is on hold and then not getting anything yesterday kind of almost gives a little legitimacy to what Doomcock is saying. And again, I can't believe I'm fucking saying that, but it does.
Listen, and look, there is, like you said, there's evidence to suggest that those rumors, maybe not true, but maybe, are a little bit more credible than they initially understood, right?
Right.
Listen, the story around the trades is that Disney knows that they screwed up with Star Wars, that there were lack of leadership and a lack of some other things that, there were some missteps along the way. Yeah. And I think some of these things that we're seeing is a reflection of that. But also, too, when it comes to Kathleen Kennedy, I mean, the whole reason why Chapek wanted to, kind of re-envision some of these contracts, these long-term contracts for creatives, stem from the fact that, from what I've heard, stem from the fact of a Kathleen Kennedy type where clearly there were some issues with the products that they were producing from that studio. And there's just no way of getting around her contract, of sidelining her and shifting in a new direction when you have contractual obligations like they do. And from what I understand, Chapek is not a fan of that, because every other division head, every other tendril throughout the company, it's very profit oriented, it's very results oriented, right. And which
is Chapek's thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's a numbers guy. I mean, and to be fair, his job was predicated on numbers and returning revenues and results for not only investors but for the board and so forth, right? Or otherwise he gets shit canned. Okay, right. I'm just gonna say it.
I know, yeah.
And so it's like, why am I under this directive of this kind of results oriented kind of philosophy when other places throughout the company aren't? And I've said this before, right? When you have somebody like a Kevin Feige and a Marvel coming from the consumer products end of the business, you have to turn those concepts and those products that they produce into tangible product that can be purchased in the consumer products division, right? You have to sell the toys in the stores. Right. And when you create crap, that's eating into their success. Right. Over at the consumer products division, and it affects other tendrils throughout the company, other divisions and so forth, right? And so it's like, why are we not going to have this kind of same results-oriented mindset throughout, company-wide, and not just reserved to some divisions that can be thrown under the rug for some other people's bad behavior, right? And this all stems back to the Kathleen Kennedy issue. It's like, hey, look, you make bad decisions. It affects other, facets of the company. Obviously, it had a huge impact at the parks, right?
Right.
Because you invest $1 billion and it's like, where's the returns? Again, these things have ramifications. These things have consequences. Why are we, aren't some of these consequences felt at the head level? Yeah. And that's his philosophy. And honestly, I don't necessarily disagree with that.
No, I don't either. I mean, this is really, it's just baffling to me. It's absolutely baffling to me. It's unbelievable. So Aaliyah says here, let's go ahead. You know what? I'm going to read you Caleb's comment. He says, from what I'm hearing, Lucasfilm was not happy with the way Disney was announcing things. They expected a big live stream event and didn't want to just announce new projects via social media. So this whole debacle was apparently a protest of Disney's oversight. Lucasfilm apparently wants the same autonomy that Marvel Studio and Kevin Feige has. It looks like Aaliyah responded to Caleb saying, but they don't, Caleb, because Feige came through for Disney Plus Day. If anything, if this is true, Lucasfilm punished the fans. People are upset at them, not Disney. The other verticals came through. The other studios did come through.
They did come through.
Yeah, they did come through. I mean, Marvel came through in spades like they always do. Like Marvel's always the belle of the freaking ball, whatever convention or event they're at part of. But every studio kind of came with it. Mm-hmm. But Star Wars really didn't provide that much, or anything really.
I mean, and we heard other people, and it's like, hey, look, Disney Plus, its position in the market. A lot of that was driven by Star Wars initially. The Mandalorian was a huge boon for Disney Plus and Disney Plus content, and even the idea or the thought of a series, taking it from which something that had been historically cinematic, and taking it to a series, and could that work? Could that forward a product or a brand? It laid all that groundwork out. And like you said before, Star Wars lives on Disney Plus currently right now and is going to in the foreseeable future, especially with Rogue Squadron being sidelined. I think honestly, I think Aaliyah's correct here. I think they let the fans down.
They did.
They let the fans down.
They
And
did.
it just speaks to the level of mismanagement that we're seeing at the upper echelons of Lucasfilm.
Yeah. And Aaliyah follows up saying here, connected with what Vash is saying, if all this is true, what Caleb said, then Kathleen Kennedy just upset Chapek more and reinforced his philosophy that KK is out of line. So it's wild. It's absolutely wild. There's just so much going on with this Lucasfilm thing. I find it hard to believe. I have a buddy. Okay, I have a buddy, and I really suggest you guys check him out on YouTube. His name is Jacob's Quest. He's a Star Wars. Well, he was a Star Wars YouTuber, but now he dives into everything, Marvel, Star Wars, and what have you. And he's kind of like in the same boat as me in terms of philosophy. Like, I've enjoyed all the Star Wars movies and stuff so far under Kathleen Kennedy, but I've been really kind of like lately disappointed, in regards to how the direction of the studio, right? And he did a great video yesterday about Disney Plus Day and Lucasfilm, and how he, as positive as he tries to be, he's saying, like, in this video, like, it's hard to defend. It's hard to defend, and what's going on? Like, it was such a muted presence on D Plus Day for Lucasfilm that it speaks volumes. That it's so obvious something is happening over there. I don't know if it's leadership changes. Look, here's the other thing too, and I don't want to get in too much into like the 4D chess conspiratorial stuff, but Kathleen Kennedy's contract was up for renewal, I think, at the end of October.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't heard any big announcement. Usually the trades do this big splash. Kathleen Kennedy renewed 3 more years, right?
Right.
Why no announcement? Maybe she was extended, but maybe it's only till the end of the year. Or maybe it's only for a few months, and that's why they're not reporting on it, because it's kind of a bad optics, right? Something is going on. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to pretend like I'm an insider, but something is definitely going on with the contract renewal, non-announcement, with all these projects they announced last December at the Investor Day, that radio silence yesterday, no trailers, nothing. Something is happening at Lucasfilm, and I don't know what it is, but it's not business as usual. I can tell you that right now. It's not business as usual.
The big rumor is that she's been sidelined, especially
Yeah.
after the Mandalorian, Gina Carano kerfuffle and stuff like that. That she's been sidelined, and her projects have been relegated to largely the High Republic and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And even then, some of those things are being stripped away. We're just not. We may not see some of those things come to fruition the original way that they were penned when they were envisioned, right? When they were originally envisioned. So, I'm not sure if those things are true. There's a lot of smoke out there. There's a lot of talk out there, but if you needed evidence to suggest that there is some kind of turmoil at Lucasfilm, here it is. I mean, the lack of any presence on Disney Plus Day, which they should have. I mean, look, Marvel had a lot of stuff coming out of here, right? And they definitely have a lot of momentum and enthusiasm and so forth from audiences in a different way than Star Wars has currently right now. But 3 things. Come on, it's inexcusable. We're talking about a $4 billion acquisition, and with limitless potential, a huge parks presence. You got 3 things in Disney Parks on Disney Plus Day. I mean, it's very frustrating, to say the least.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then Epic Berserker says here, showing Lucasfilm management is the lowest team at all the Disney studios. I mean, yeah, they are. I mean, no other studio. And look, this is coming from. The thing is I'm hard on Lucasfilm because I love Lucasfilm. Like, I love Star Wars. Like, I'll be real with you guys. I like Marvel, but I fucking love Star Wars. No,
I'm very much agree with you.
Yeah.
No, we're in the same camp. Sorry, I keep stepping on you.
No, go ahead.
There. No, look, I'm in the same exact camp as you are. I do like Marvel, and I love aspects about it. But man, oh man, I'm a Star Wars fan first and foremost. Always have been, always will be. And the fact that it's completely regressed in the pulp culture is zeitgeist. It's just like it was a perennial, man. Star Wars was always at the top of the list. It was always like, it demanded the most respect. It demanded the most fan enthusiasm. It had conventions over the years. I mean, Star Wars was a thing, like huge. And this mismanagement that we're seeing from Lucasfilm has placed it in a position where it's not only second fiddle to Marvel, but it's way down the list. Way down.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
it's not even close, and it's so sad to see because I mean, anybody who was a fan of the expanded universe in any respect understands the amazing amount of potential that exists within this universe, and the fact that it's not being leveraged correctly by leadership at Lucasfilm, and we're just not seeing anything that suggests that they will leverage it. Either on Disney Plus, which is a great forum for a lot of this stuff that maybe doesn't work cinematically. You can bring out all kinds of stuff. We talked about a lot about it yesterday, days prior.
Yeah.
we talked about how some of these concepts and ideas would make amazing series on Disney Plus and could set up the foundational future for for Star Wars going forward, whether it be on Disney Plus or cinematically. And the fact that they just don't even do anything like that is unbelievably frustrating. I mean, wouldn't it be great if we were to have like a Revan series or an Exar Kun series or the Mandalorian Wars, or even when you want to go back to the original timeline of the Galactic Civil War, there's so many stories right there. You could see, you can see it from the remnants' perspective, right? What happened to the Empire when the Empire actually fell? How that all actually transpired. Some of the Thrawn trilogy was huge. I know they're trying to, kind of bring that back up in various different ways and aspects. And I don't know if that's still going forward or not. Some of those series have been sidelined, and some things have fallen by the wayside. I have no idea what's going to happen there, but it's just. It's so frustrating, man. It's so incredibly frustrating that we haven't seen this brand see it live up to its true potential.
100%. 100%. Let's it's really sad. It really, really is. Let's pivot a little bit now to Disney and Pixar. Let's move to Disney and Pixar. Like a lot of this stuff, I don't want to go through every single thing, but we'll kind of skim by and see. So, Cheaper by the Dozen, family comedy will be coming Disney Plus in March 2022.
You're gonna see a theme here, guys.
Yeah,
a bunch of remakes and a bunch of remember this thing? It's new now.
It's new now,
kind of thing.
And then we got Disenchanted, which is actually the original movie. Enchanted was actually a movie that my sister really loved, but star Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey.
It's kind of become like a cult classic now, right?
It kind of has. So I think this will do very well. It's a sequel to the film from 2007. It'll stream exclusively on D+. So not going to theater, just going to go to D+. I'm sure this will do very well. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I honestly don't watch any of these. I don't know. Are you a big fan of these, Dre?
No. I will confess, not much. I understand that the book series was, if I'm not mistaken, was hugely popular back in the day with a contingent of children going up. But as far as that, all I know is the relevance. Prior, I don't know the series or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either. But here we go. This is a little something, a little blast from the past. This is more my speed. I grew up on the Disney afternoon. I've always loved the Disney afternoon. But Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, stars of the upcoming hybrid live-action CG animated feature based on everyone's favorite animated chipmunks unveiled teaser art for the new movie streaming on Disney Plus spring of 2022. Now here, I'm going to have an open mind with this one.
Yeah.
But there is a huge caveat with this. I can't shake the chipmunks kind of comparison, because I feel like the Chipmunks movies are like this hybrid thing, right? You guys have seen these movies, right? Or as Christian Harloff calls them, the shit rats.
The shit rats. Okay. I'd never heard of that one before, but yes, the Alvin and Chipmunk series. Yeah, I got you.
You know, but this kind of, I can't shake that image in my head, like Disney's version of the Chipmunks.
Disney has. Disney is pretty good at market awareness, and it kind of understands that comparisons might be made towards that. So I do think I have confidence that they'll go in a different direction enough that it will kind of, it'll be its own thing, kind of, so to speak. So I have confidence, but yeah, I get you. Well, hey, Rescue Rangers, that tells you how big that series was, by the way. Oh, yeah. Out of all the things that are holdovers from that era, that time period that we saw on the Disney Channel, we got Gadget's Go Coaster, and we still have it today. What does that tell you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. and the music for the theme song, all the Disney Afternoon was the king of the theme song. Chip and Dale,
Rescue Rangers.
Yeah, every single song.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's so iconic. There's potential here. I can't shake the Chipmunks comparison, but like you said, Disney's aware of this stuff. Hopefully they come through. We'll see. I'm still excited for it. Look, I got to be real with you. The Ducktales reboot from 2017, I was a real big fan of. I really liked what they did with this new DuckTales. It wasn't perfect, but it had big shoes to fill, to be fair. And I think it really did deliver in a lot of ways. I was really, really happy with that series. So if they continue that success with this Rescue Rangers thing, I'll be happy, I'll be happy. And I think this whole, a little chipmunk sized script, I think that's pretty cute, pretty clever.
Right. Let me see if I can get it up here. Oh man, should have had this all set. They're going deep in the well here. And again, they kind of understand, right? They kind of understand their audience and understand the kind of how much of an impact this made back at the time it was produced. So the fact that they're kind of pulling it back is pretty cool. Is kind of awesome. Let's see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think it has potential. We'll see how it pans out. The Beatles get back. I'm never a big Beatles fan.
Wow.
But I think there is a market for this for sure. A lot of boomers might be into this.
Oh man, we're gonna get some comments. We're gonna get some mail on that, man. That's crazy.
I think this is definitely that generation, but I think it's going to be very successful. Better Nate than never. I don't know. I don't know anything about this, but I do like Joshua Bassett. I think he's a good kid. I think that he's on High School Musical. So, hey.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Hocus Pocus 2. A lot of buzz around this one.
Huge,
a lot of buzz.
Huge. Again, you want to talk about cult classics. Hocus Pocus is unbelievably big. And Disney has done a pretty good job at kind of restoring that enthusiasm a little bit and kind of kicking that dust up a little bit with the parks and obviously Walt Disney World and some of its Halloween celebrations have integrated Hocus Pocus characters pretty well, and to kind of see them make a comeback right here, again, Disney kind of understands what the fans want, and the fact that they're giving it to them in this way, pretty cool.
It is. They got some pretty cool Hocus Pocus merch right now at California Adventure that I noticed the past couple visits. And I think this has a lot of crossover potential if it's a success, like with California Adventure and their Halloween offerings and what have you. There's a lot here. So I think this is a smart move on Disney's part for sure. Then we got Pinocchio, which is another live action remake. Tom Hanks. I mean, come on. Tom Hanks is is a Hollywood icon.
Absolutely. Now this remake right here, I have been hearing about this or iterations of it for, man, I want to say like 5-6 years now.
Oh yeah,
like going back a long time. So the fact that we're getting this in some form, this is interesting.
It's very interesting. So we'll see how it pans out. Hey, look, you know what? With these live action music, with these live action remakes, upon every one of the announcements, I'm like, oh god, because I'm such a diehard animation fan. Like, I love Howard Ashman. I love what he did with Little Mermaid. I love what he did with Beauty and the Beast. I love this old like Cinderella, these old classic films. And when I hear the live action remake, I'm like, oh, but you can't top it, And a lot of times we don't. But sometimes we do strike gold with these remakes. I loved Cinderella, the live action Cinderella.
Okay.
I love that one. I thought it was phenomenal. There were a few gems. Jungle Book, another one that was fantastic. They do sometimes have these kind of like these little gems that they're not as great as the original, but they do offer something different. So we'll see with Pinocchio.
I think the most successful things have been this kind of alternative takes on the source material, like we saw from Corolla and stuff. Corolla was hugely popular and extremely successful. Really struck a chord with audiences. So like that kind of stuff, I think is kind of the best iteration of that.
Absolutely. And then we got here Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. Now, I got to be real with you. Not a huge Ice Age person. I don't even know really. I guess this movie was already completed when they closed down Blue Sky Studios.
Oh, really? Okay, that's the story.
I mean, I'm assuming. I don't know. I'm assuming because they shut this studio down unless they had some other studio, like their own people, pick up where they left off. I don't know. I'm assuming this was kind of in the can already, and this was like left over from that studio. I don't know, but it is kind of interesting that this is coming out when the studio is now no longer in existence.
That sounds about right. Sounds about right that it was in production, or a significant portion of the way through, and that they would look to kind of finish it up and send it out. I can buy that.
Yeah. So it's good for kids. I'm sure they'll enjoy it. That's cool. And we got Sneakerella. I think we'll do a whole video on this one. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I know nothing about this. I don't know. This feels very much like a Disney Channel thing to me. It's kind of out of my demo. I think it's a tween thing. I think.
Yeah.
I probably won't watch it, but hey, I mean, it might be really good. Maybe I will check it out. Hey, look, to be fair, I didn't think I would like the High School Musical show, and I did.
All right.
So we'll see. You never know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
They're going off in a bunch of different avenues, as they always seem to do.
Yep, absolutely. And the Proud Family, which is interesting. I actually have a little bit of a personal thing about the Proud Family that I'd like to share with everybody today.
Cool.
When I was in high school, I actually interned at an animation studio.
Oh.
And the animation studio was Hyperion Studios. And Hyperion Studios, I think they're now defunct at this point. But Hyperion Studios, they did the Brave Little Toaster movies for Disney.
Oh.
And it was really fun. And they did the Proud Family for Disney. So I was kind of like part of that whole process in terms of, well, not like seriously part of, I mean, I was Xeroxed things all day long as an intern, but it was just kind of cool. So, Proud Family kind of hits close to home. It's kind of interesting for me, to see it come back.
I had no idea that you interned at an animation studio. I had no idea. This is all new to me. We're learning this in real time, friends.
in real time. It was pretty cool. Hyperion Studios. It was a great little studio in Glendale, and they did a lot of like this kind of ancillary material for Disney, and not just Disney. They did Bebe's Kids. I remember the show Bebe's Kids.
Yeah, gotcha.
Life with Louie.
Okay.
Itsy Bitsy Spider for Fox, stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. But yeah, so this one is kind of interesting to me just on that personal level.
That's cool. That's awesome. I like those personal connections. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then here we go with the heavy hitter. We got we got High School Musical, the series. Love is an open door. They're going full Frozen, guys. Full Frozen.
Wow. Striking while the iron's red hot.
Full Frozen. Which is interesting because last season was Beauty and the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how the Frozen thing. I'm sure it'll do well. But here, you know what? Actually, there's actually a comment from our friend Aaliyah in regards to this. Let me pull her comment up real quick.
Sure.
Because it was actually in regards to this. So I think it'd be very topical.
Okay.
She says, "Hey, I love that show." Aaliyah, so do I. I love that show too. She says, "Curious if Olivia will return." Olivia Rodrigo. Now, here's the thing with Olivia, is that she's really taken off. Like her music career has really taken off. She's a superstar right now. I am also very curious, Aaliyah. I don't know if you're still in the chat with us, but I'm also very curious if she will return because she's gotten pretty big. She's kind of in a lot of ways outgrown this show in a lot of ways. She's become a little kind of a bigger star. I really don't know. We'll see though, because I'm a big Olivia Rodrigo fan. I think she's a really talented young lady, but it'll be interesting to see if she does make that return.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You know, and then she follows up with, "I love Proud Family, excited for this movie with High School Musical. I wonder if Olivia will be in season 3 now that she's a huge music." I just said the same thing.
Said the same thing.
Yeah, Olivia is definitely a big question mark because she's gotten really big. So we'll see. I do not know. That's a very big question mark, Aaliyah. I hope she is because I think she's fantastic in this. So
like I've said before, and I'll say it again, we should have had Aaliyah.
Aaliyah, definitely. If you ever want to come on and join us, you're always welcome. Just to let you know, you're always welcome. And it looks like the Spiderwick Chronicles. It's a new live action series, modern coming of age story. I think it's based on it's based on the beloved books. That's cool. I didn't ever read the books, but the art looks kind of interesting. We'll see. Baymax. Now here's the thing with Baymax. I kind of want to stop on this one for a second.
Okay.
One of my biggest complaints with Big Hero 6 was the other 4 members of Hero 6. like I loved the dynamic of Hero and Baymax, a boy and his robot, and the robot trying to sort of be there for the boy during this hard time of losing his brother, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
that whole aspect of it. I thought was a beautiful story to tell. The extra characters, I felt were kind of obnoxious and didn't really do much in the story.
Yeah, it didn't really add to it, right?
Character,
mm-hmm.
It's like they weren't really needed. So it's kind of refreshing. To be honest with you, that none of that is in this. It seems like it's a Baymax show. So
it'll be fun.
I'm kind of all in on this, actually. I'm kind of all in on this because it takes all the parts I love about that movie and puts it into a show. Okay, this is great. This is great.
Yeah, so Big Hero 6 and all that was based off a Marvel property, wasn't it?
It was, yes. It was from the 90s, I believe, a comic from the 90s.
Okay, so I want to say that some of the characters, while true to the comic books, maybe, it could have been better distilled down to a story between, like you said, Hero and Baymax and, and have that story be told, and then maybe introduce those characters later, maybe to a sequel or something, and kind of build on that storyline. The fact that it was all kind of shoved into one film, and I guess the theme is that he finds family with these kind of oddballs, so to speak, and kind of overcomes the loss he incurred earlier in that story. If anybody hasn't seen it, and kind of overcomes that through that new family, right? Didn't quite maybe wasn't executed as well as I'd hoped, but it is kind of cool to see that we're returning to some of those storylines. So we'll see.
It is, and the thing I love about this new era is that like when I was growing up in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
When they would do a series based on a hit animated film, so whether it be the Little Mermaid series, the Aladdin series, I think even the Hercules series, it
Tarzan
was very
series.
What was that?
The Tarzan and the Buzz Lightyear series. I remember those.
Exactly, but it was very much like a step down in terms of the animation. It was like you knew this is a show, right? It was very much like second or third tier, Timon and Pumbaa is another example. With the new era, it feels like, look, this looks every bit as good as the movie. The animation is just as good. So I like that. It feels like a continuation, like a real continuation of these films. And the Tiana series also feels like it looks like it's the same quality as the movie, which is great,
Right. It is kind of cool to see some stories expanded upon, seen through the lens of a series, and we kind of take a deeper dive into some of these characters, these stories, and so forth, and bring them forward into series that kind of makes sense. You can definitely see that the series back in the 90s were kind of capitalizing on the success of some of those other things, but maybe didn't storylines didn't organically grow from them, so to speak, right? They were just kind of like, hey, let's just use this as a platform to expand on the marketing potential of some of these stories, and maybe not so much the storylines actually extracting from those stories in a kind of organic way. I would have loved to have seen this for Star Wars, but I guess we're we're over that conversation, so we might as well just move on.
Yeah, and then Caleb says, wait, wasn't there already a Big Hero 6 animated series? Is that canon to this show? Yeah, there was, Caleb. There was. I think that was actually a 2D hand-drawn, or it looked like traditional animation. In terms of canon, I don't know. I'll be real with you. I'm not too familiar with the Big Hero 6 canon stuff. To be quite honest, right? I don't know if it is canon or not. But this definitely looks more, in line with what the movie did. And this is actually from Disney Animation Studios. So that's pretty cool. Michael says here, I recall all those old shows were made by separate studio apart from, they were apart from Walt Disney Animation, Michael. It was, I think the Disney Television Group that actually did those series back then.
Right.
This Baymax is going to be from actually the theatrical wing of the studio. And here's Zootopia, that they're getting a series. Looks pretty cool. Zootopia Plus, it'll be very meta, I'm sure. Tiana, which we mentioned, she's getting a series, long form musical series, which that'll be interesting.
That'll be very interesting. How's that going to work out?
That's going to be very interesting. This is going to be a hand-drawn, I am assuming a hand-drawn thing. I like the era. I think it's in like 1920s or 30s, which is kind of a cool era for an animated film, I think.
Yeah.
I like that. So we'll see. I think that might be kind of cool. Some of the stuff we'll kind of skip over.
Yeah.
Pixar didn't have too much, but they have cars on the road. I actually really like this concept art. This is kind of like with the Toy Story world when the toys kind of use their imagination and go to these crazy environments. I kind of like that. This looks kind of dope.
That is kind of cool.
So I don't know. It's kind of interesting. And maybe maybe we'll get some. If it's a big hit, maybe we'll get some tie-ins for Cars Land at DCA. Never know.
Maybe. Never know.
Never know. Win or lose. This is each 20-minute episode will highlight the perspective of a different character as a middle school co-ed softball team prepares for their championship game. This is a really cool concept. Kind of get your brain kind of thinking, like, so it's going to be kind of like the story told from different perspectives. I think that's kind of neat, actually. Very, very clever.
Okay. Alrighty. I think we have a comment here.
Which one?
Featuring Pete Doctor.
Oh, yeah. Let me bring that up. Give me 1 second. I can definitely go back. Pete Doctor. Was that Aaliyah? Was that our friend Aaliyah? Or do you,
seem to recall something. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got it. Maybe I got him. Yeah. Okay. So if the rumor is true, Pete Docter is hurt by the decisions made with their films for Disney Plus. So it would have been 12:16 p.m. A little bit higher up.
12:16. Okay. Give me one moment. I'll go ahead and pull that comment. 12:16. Oh, you know what? You're different time. Hold on.
Oh, different time. Yeah. Okay. So for you, it would be 11:16.
Oh, here it is.
Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. Okay, so it's Aaliyah. She says, if rumor is true, Pete Docter is hurt by the decisions made with their films for Disney Plus with Pixar, and he was with a camera and showing joy. So if true, Lucasfilm looks like big babies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta say, I mean, Pixar has really been through the ringer lately. A lot of their stuff have been thrown onto Disney Plus and not even Premier Access for free. And you don't really see, like, you hear murmurs of them not being happy, but I don't know.
It's very interesting. They got the 1-2 punch. To me, it seems like from you had, we had everything go down with Lasseter. Won't rehash that, but that was a big deal. Then you had Onward affected very heavily by the pandy, and it was that was a pretty big wake up call. And then you had a huge change of management shortly thereafter. At least at the top, within C-suite, right, with Bob Chapek being placed in the CEO position. So all these things have, I think, out of all these different changing things, I think Pixar has been hit the hardest by a lot of this stuff. I think, and so I can kind of understand how the output from that studio is a little bit shaky. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And then Marvel again. Okay, so look, I mean, I think overall, I mean, if I were to be completely honest, I think overall Disney Plus Day was a success. I think that the real black eye, I got to be completely real, was Lucasfilm. I think a lot of these studios came through, Marvel especially. Marvel always does. Kevin Feige always comes through for his fans. But I think a lot of these studios came through where there were a lot of cool stuff that was presented to us, especially if you're a family, you have kids or something. There was a lot here to look forward to. I'm just disappointed with Star Wars. What are your thoughts overall, Dre, in terms of what was presented, yesterday?
Same. You saw, from the Disney side, we saw a lot of, deep digging of that well from different other, whether it be pre-established stories. We got some original stuff, but a lot of kind of like, hey, let's take what was popular back in the 90s and so forth and kind of re-energize it for today. We saw some of that. So pretty typical. Again, you got some 4-quadrant stuff, right? You got some stuff that, could maybe appeal to adults, but a lot of it's, like you said, tweens and teens and so forth. So we got to see some of that stuff. Pixar stuff, would have liked to have seen more, but what we got, is interesting. Marvel, obviously, just huge, and again, that's a studio that's going somewhere. It's a studio that has a direction. It understands its audience. It understands what people want to see, and even with the experimental stuff that they're doing, they look like hits. And you got to give it up to Kevin Feige. But yes, I do agree with you. Lucasfilm. I mean, it's just. It's what more can I say about it, right? It's just very disappointing.
It
what
is.
we're seeing right there. And look, and it's bring out some stuff Indiana Jones related if you don't have stuff Star Wars related, right? I mean, there's multiple avenues you can go here,
Right?
and jeez, it's just disappointing. I think honestly. I think in Star Wars' history, we might have had more releases and offshoots and kind of what is it? Extra material come out of a Lucasfilm of years gone by, right? Like with I don't know, with Ewoks and droids and the Clone Wars series is plural at the video games and stuff like that. There's just no momentum here from the studio, and it really is completely bizarre. I just can't explain it. Somebody's got to be given the wheel here. We need direction here. We need to go off into a direction, stick with it, build a universe around it, and go. And I'm just not saying it.
No, and they're consistently snatching victory from the jaws of defeat, so to speak. Where it's like they literally are coming off of one of the most successful series, really, I would even argue of all time, with The Mandalorian. I mean, you rarely see something as a pop culture phenomena as Baby Yoda. That's a rarity.
I was gonna put these up. I didn't have time to.
Oh, that's dope, dude.
Yeah, I got some stuff that you might be seeing on the wall here shortly. But
nice.
Look, I mean, you're right. These things are. Mandalorian's huge. It's massive, and the fact that we haven't even seen this leveraged as much as it probably should be. I mean, look, could we at least get some footage from season 3? Apparently that's done, right?
Yeah, I think so. I know for a fact Kenobi is wrapped. I know for a fact that Andor is wrapped. If they haven't wrapped season 3 for Mando, they could probably have some concept art or something they can give us. I mean, look, here's the thing. Kevin Feige, he's in the same boat with a lot of his projects, like Moon Knight and like She-Hulk, and he still gave us his fans something. So
second one right here.
Yeah, that's dope, dude. That's really dope. I love that.
So expect those on the back. Right there. Somewhere. I'm still trying to figure out where I'm gonna put them, but yeah.
And I love the purple lighting. It goes good with the orange nerd motif.
Well, I do try to integrate the lighting in with the show.
It looks really good. So let's go ahead and dedicate the last half of the show to our viewer comments. We're going to start off with our good friend, Rudio.
Oh, man. We do miss you, buddy. We miss you a whole hell of a lot.
We do. We got to get Rudio back in the show. He comes in with a $5 holla saying, enjoying from the hotel room. Disney Plus Day was pretty cool from a being in the parks perspective. Miss you guys. We'll be at Disney California Adventure taking a shot for you guys. You know what, Rudio? Cheers, brother. Take a shot for both me and Vash. We miss you. You're always welcome on this show, Rudio. Anytime you want to come on, let us know. Orange Nerd or OG55, doesn't matter. We'll talk shop with you for sure. So, yeah, thank you so much again, Rudio. We do appreciate it, brother.
Oh man, I miss him. His perspective, so unique. Just a good human as well. Just good soul. He's awesome. He's great. Love him.
He is. Thank you, Rudio. Appreciate it, brother.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got Epic Berserker. Ironheart just sounds dumb. Why would they greenlight? Why would they greenlight that series? The comic was a big flop. Well, supposedly, and I don't know. I can't.
That's interesting.
Yes, I can't confirm this, but I've heard that is a major point of contention with Chapek and Kevin Feige in terms of why are you replacing Iron Man with this other character where you can't sell the comics.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true that is. That's what I'm hearing around the interwebs.
Look, there was a reason why I went into the kind of the comics and what they were doing a few years ago, and just kind of seeing like where the kind of MCU was planning to go. And look, I gotta be honest here. I mean, the comics that they have been producing lately. I I won't comment on them quality or content wise.
You can if you want. You can
Well, let's just say the execution it was questionable. These comics were of questionable quality from a writing perspective, and certainly from a characterization perspective, even from an art perspective in some respects. But look, Ironheart. I think there is some truth to that. Ironheart didn't do super well. No, look, Marvel historically, if you look at some of their sales, some of their comic book sales, haven't been doing all that well. Now they'll say, "Oh well, we have a lot of digital stuff, right?" And we have a strong presence in scholastic, libraries and so forth, traveling road shows from elementary schools, or so forth. Okay, maybe that's possible. But it's just those comic book sales. They're. Now look, I know the medium's changing and all that. It's just, but some of these comics are just. They're not that good, guys. They're just not, And look, maybe the MCU can execute them at a very, very high level. I do hope they do, but man, it's just some of the stuff that I was seeing back in the day it's giving me a little pause. It was like, really, I'm sorry. Some of these runs have comic sales maybe in the 20,000s, 30,000s, when historically Marvel Comics, they would end a run if it was less than 120,000 sales. And now this is supposed to be sustainable for a huge franchise that is Marvel, especially if we go in these directions. I knew they were going in this direction. I was waiting for it. We'll see.
We'll see. And this rumor that Chapek and Feige were kind of at each other in regards to having Ironheart because of the comic book numbers. Look, that may or may not be true. I don't know. That's a rumor. But that's not out of character for Bob Chapek. I mean, Bob Chapek would definitely come with those receipts. Bob Chapek is a numbers guy. And that's definitely something I could see him focusing on and saying, hey, look, Feige, the Ironheart comic numbers are not good, bro. I can see him saying that for sure.
And we just had a conversation about consumer products, right? And how decisions made at some of these creative heads, right, affect other divisions within the company, specifically consumer products. And when you kill off a character like Iron Man, that does have an effect on sales of Iron Man product going forward, right? And what you do with that character going forward. So the idea that he would have a conversation with Kevin Feige about Ironheart and the lack of enthusiasm for that character, even amongst fans,
right?
Look, I gotta be honest. I could believe it. That doesn't make it true, obviously. Right. Just because something makes sense doesn't make it true, but necessarily. But look, I mean. I could understand from a consumer products kind of mindset why some of those decisions that have profound impact on some of the multiple divisions within the Disney company would be scrutinized.
Right. As a numbers guy, I could see that him bringing that up. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you, Epic. Appreciate the comments, sir.
Absolutely.
And Aaliyah says, oh my goodness, I plan to start watching X-Men 97 again. Last watched years ago, early next year, 1 episode a week. Will then be done by 2023.
Nice
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah, that was a great show, Aaliyah. That really
great
was.
Show. Again, like you said, Gargoyles, Batman the Animated Series, X-Men, right up there.
Right. And then Epic follows up, Gargoyles needs a return. 100%, brother.
100%.
100%. And then we got a comment here from Nicholas Walker saying, so I Am Groot is a prequel to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm assuming so, Nicholas, being that it at least takes place while he's a baby.
Yeah, so it might. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that time period at least, where he's a small little Groot, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe in and around the events of 2 going on to the Avengers Infinity War Endgame kind of thing. Right,
exactly. Michael here is saying, have the real world campuses, i.e. Anaheim, Paris, Webb, been referenced in any of the new films? I don't believe so. I mean, I could be wrong on that. Have you heard anything, Dre, in regards to the Avengers campuses being referenced in any of the movies or anything like that in the Marvel?
Haven't seen anything like that. And that doesn't mean necessarily that they won't be going forward. Avengers Campus is relatively a new thing. So as some of these productions go forward, as some of the development kind of shakes out, we might have references to Avengers Campus in some of these, whether it be cinematically or on these or with these series, so to speak, but not one that I've heard so far.
Yep. Same here. And then we have Stuart Rayfield saying, do you think the format that Disney used for Disney Plus Day via social media was appropriate? Or do you think they could have done more of an overall production, like an Apple event sort of thing? Hey, I was watching Christian Harloff talk about this, and that was one of his biggest complaints in regards to the whole D Plus Day was not so much what they announced, but with how they announced it through like a tweet thread sort of thing. And yeah, I mean, Stuart, I kind of agree with like that mindset. I think that they could have done more like an Apple event or even like a DC fandom kind of thing where they had a presentation, maybe even get Chapek up there, or you get the various studio heads up there talking about their various projects, kind of similar to what they did with the Investor Day last year in December.
This sounds like? What this sounds like to me, working backwards, it's probably going to be at D23 Expo.
What do you mean?
Remember, D23 Expo was supposed to take place this year, right?
Oh, that's true.
If I'm not mistaken.
This
was probably something where it was, we would have normally had these announcements be at the live action or the studios panel for the D23 Expo. And because of, everything going on right now and actually hosting a big event and so forth, they had to kind of scrap that plan, but still go forward with at least something to show not only fans but investors and so forth, and just kind of get some enthusiasm and momentum out there. That was probably what happened. If I had to think.
No, that's a reasonable assumption.
And that's probably why we didn't get much footage, because probably if you were to make, if you were going to do something at D23 Expo, the benefit of doing it in that venue is you control everything, right? You just collect phones on the way in, and you can show some great behind the scenes stuff that gets everybody hyped and gets people, going off on social media and that kind of thing. But in this format, you're kind of limited what you can reveal and, all that kind of stuff. So, sure. I mean, maybe there is some evidence of, about, we had an earlier comment, I believe it was from Aaliyah, suggesting that that Lucasfilm may have wanted that kind of format to show some footage off, but doing it through social media just wasn't appropriate. So that's what it sounds like to me.
Interesting. Yeah, a lot of people, Stuart, have been kind of commenting on that in terms of the way it was handled, and having that live stage thing might have been better, but like Dre was touching upon, it might have been just kind of logistical.
Yeah, just a logistical thing. It's because some of those things you just kind of build up to those days, and then when a D23 Expo or something like that, when you're supposed to have all these things presented at, and when something like that gets canceled and you don't have the controlled venue anymore, that can kind of affect how these things are presented. So maybe that's what happened. That's kind of what it seems like to me.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jay Scherer is saying, was Disney Plus Day well executed in the parks? How is Disney combining the in-person and streaming service? That's kind of fascinating. Well, Jay, I honestly wasn't at the parks. I can't really say. Like, I wasn't there. So I don't know how it was handled. I mean, I saw pictures of the big blue carpet, at the parks and how they lit up all the icons in blue. And I thought that was all kind of cool. But
they did a couple of things, right? So at Walt Disney World, I think you got like 30 minutes, 30 minutes early access to the parks if you were a Disney Plus subscriber. I think that's how
really?
they did some cool stuff. Yeah. And I think they gave out some merch, like a hat or whatever. Some pretty interesting ways of kind of leveraging this whole thing within the parks. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting. And Disney Plus Day is very classic Disney. Disney loves celebrating like anniversaries, big milestones, creating these big events for
Do
these
they though?
things.
Do they? Because that was one of the things, between the parks guys and all
true.
of that, where it's like, we got a lot of stuff for Disney Plus Day, but not so much celebrating the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, which is very interesting.
That was a big thing for the parks people, and this is the thing. This is the thing, and I think a lot of parks fans, and I could be out of line here or off base, but I think that the parks fans kind of need to recalibrate like what's kind of the priority at the company right now. Like there's a seismic shift in Hollywood right now. And the streaming wars, they really need to plant their flag and stake their claim in this war. This is survival right now, you guys, with these studios. The Walt Disney World 50th is an important event. No doubt it's a huge milestone. But it's not going to make or break the company.
Right.
So it's not reality, and it sucks, I get it, but it's not going to be the focus like a Disney Plus Day, where Disney Plus really, you see the stock price tank when anytime it'll skyrocket or tank just based on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Everything that the stock price is doing is based on Disney Plus. In our bubble, I'm not getting reservations to the park. This is the worst thing ever. Oh, Genie Plus is costing too much. All that stuff means nothing to the board, to the shareholders, nothing. Disney Plus rules the show. They're king of the hill. And that's really what Disney, they should be focusing on. That's what the future is right now. They got to get that settled and really stake their spot. And so I can understand why Disney would focus more on the Disney Plus stuff than the Walt Disney World 50th. I just think there's more at stake with it. But I could be wrong. I mean,
it's definitely what investors are looking at, right? In the last quarterly earnings report, that Disney didn't meet their Disney Plus subscriber projections, right? The stock went down 4% because of that. It's like, it's really, there's some other things, of course, attached to that, but that's a huge deal. I mean, that's a big deal. And again, when it comes to the positioning of Disney Plus in the market, it's vitally important. I mean, the studios believe, Disney included, that this is the future. Yeah. That there will be a time when theatrical might not be around, or at least might be a different venue than what we envision it right now. And when that change occurs, when that change happens, where are you going to be? Are you going to be are you going to be a studio that's going to be acquired? Right? As we've been seeing from like MGM and so forth, or are you going to be a studio that's going to be one of the top, that's going to be one of the three left standing at the end?
Right. Exactly. And this is the thing. If you ever watch that documentary from a lot now, wow, it's almost been a decade now, but Waking Sleeping Beauty.
Right.
And Roy Disney, the nephew, not the brother.
Yeah.
He has a little thing in there, and he's saying Disney was, is, and will always be about the film business. The film business, the studio side of this company fuels everything.
Everything.
And even more so now than ever, because at least before, Disney would make attractions based on original ideas. But now they don't. Now everything comes from some sort of franchise. If you don't have that studio healthy, up and running, vibrant, churning out those IPs, you don't even get the attractions in the parks. Right. So it's vital that Disney gets that studio end of it, which is tied very closely to Disney Plus. They get that right. They don't get that right, and the whole thing falls apart.
You make a great point. I mean, look, think about where we've seen the parks been trending for the last 10 years, maybe even longer than that. The product that you see in theaters fuels the product that you see in the parks in terms of like an attraction, right? And then look at the product that's sold afterwards or in amongst or during, right? At the gift shop at the end, right? That all is fueled by the studio. So like you said there, I mean, if like I said, if they don't get that right, other divisions suffer as a result. And that's why Bob Chapek is taking a keen interest in what the studio does and what the creatives decide to do. And, the consequences and accountability for some of those actions and decisions, right? And that's why he's doing the things that he's doing. It's because he's intimately aware that these things are invariably connected. He made some of those connections himself when he was, taken from the consumer products role and placed in the Disney Parks Experiences and Products. But at that time, Disney Parks and Resorts merged them together to make the division that we know today. They're invariably linked. And a lot of that success is predicated on what the studios actually produce.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And we're seeing that in real time with stuff like, Avengers Campus, right? When a series comes out, like even an episode of What If, we're seeing that character in the parks. I think that's Bob Chapek's plan going forward here.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Yeah, he wants that like in real time.
In real time
energy,
Yes.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And then I'm going to get a couple more, then we'll head out. But Aaliyah adds to this saying Netflix has a larger market cap than Disney now because of this week. Sigh, she says, definitely emphasizes what you mentioned recently, OG. More adult, edgy content is needed for Disney Plus. Hulu tile needed in the US. Yeah, I did a video yesterday on this where Disney Plus, if they really want to compete in with Netflix or beat Netflix, I think they do need to add more adult stuff. I can just tell you anecdotally, the only reason why I really leave Disney Plus is to go and get that other stuff I can't get there with the more adult stuff. If I want to watch a detective show or I want to watch, a murder mystery or a documentary that deals with more real life kind of stuff, I have to go to Netflix for that, or I got to go off Disney Plus for that. If Disney can kind of keep people on their platform and have that Hulu tile or something equivalent, whatever, where I can get all that stuff on Disney Plus still, put it behind a parental block thing. Parents can kind of, lock certain tiles or what have you or something. So kids can't get into the Hulu tile, I get that. But they have to do something because I think that this family-friendly thing does have a ceiling. Yep. Michael Eisner sort of recognized that in the 80s when he was trying to build Disney up. He understood you needed Touchstone, you needed Hollywood Pictures and Miramax. And Miramax to do more adult stuff because you need that stuff is vital to getting more eyeballs. And Disney Plus is no different. It's a different platform than it was in the 80s, but it's the same idea. And I think that you're going to need the more adult content to bring in more people. And bringing Hulu into the fold would be a good way to do it. Now, they do have to wait legally until I think Comcast sells over its portion of it, which I think will eventually happen. But we'll see. But what do you think of that, Dre, in terms of the market share, in terms of kind of branching out a little bit,
Yes. I do kind of agree with you that there should be at least some venue in which more edgier adult content is placed, it kind of makes, is presented to the audience, so to speak, right? Maybe, right. Like a Hulu Plus tile or like a Hulu tile that you were saying that is only, is age restricted and can be accessed via the Disney Plus platform, I think is a good route to go. And one that, if they're not making moves to that end already, I'd be surprised.
Yeah. Because from what I understand, some of the international markets have a Star tile, which I think Star is kind of like a Hulu type of thing. From what I understand,
I think so. Look, when I've seen these investor presentations, I might not get all the details, especially when it comes to the international markets. But yes, if I'm not mistaken, that is correct.
Yeah. And then Aaliyah follows up with, I think they can initiate it now with Comcast, yet Disney wants to wait, it seems. Wall Street is pressuring them to do it now, though. Oh, yeah. Wall Street, I'm telling you, Aaliyah, you're right. Wall Street wants everything is about the streaming service. Everything. The parks revenue could tank, but if Disney Plus surpasses expectations, the stock price will rally. It's literally become that. It's only Disney Plus that matters. So, Wall Street is really pressuring. They want you bring the Hulu you bring Hulu into the fold, and Disney Plus numbers skyrocket.
Do you think, though, that one of the reasons maybe they haven't gone this direction outside of the Comcast thing is because they want to keep them separate products in order to it provides obviously a base for their bundling that is so profitable for them, but also if you keep two separate products, now you're paying for two separate services. Do you think that might have something to do with it?
I do. I think it's a big part of it. And I think that if they do bring in, because obviously they're not going to look, Disney's not going to want to take the hit financially if they bring it in. So I do think that if they do bring the Hulu tile into Disney Plus, you will see pretty significant
price increase.
Yep. To make up for the bundle loss.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And one would expect so. So that's going to be interesting to see how they navigate those waters going forward.
Definitely. And they have room to work with that because as of right now, Disney Plus is really on the cheaper side of these streaming services. I think Netflix is like $14 a month or something on average. Something
like that. Yeah. I haven't looked at it a lot because we get Netflix through our T-Mobile contract. So that's pretty cool. But I haven't looked at it, but it's up there. Now, a lot of Netflix content is kind of crap, to be honest with you. Quality over quantity kind of thing. But Disney, I mean, Chapek has said it before, and he said it for years now. Hey, look, we really want to have enough new series to keep people on the platform, keep people engaged, keep people coming back. Right. I said he said multiple times, like we want to have a series release, every single week kind of thing, at least kind of like a new episode released a week, and they are definitely positioning themselves to do that and more.
Yeah, and Stuart adds here, when they introduced Star D Plus in the UK, it went up from 5, I guess that's euros to from
5.99 euros to
99 a month. Oh, you know what? I think he means
an annual rate.
Yeah, $5.99 to $7.99 a month. Because I think he hit the shift button into the and sign instead.
Oh, I got you.
$5 to $7 a month. So yeah, Stuart, you're right. I think that would increase here absolutely. Like you said, they're already showing. I mean, you're saying that they already increased when they did introduce that tile.
Right.
I can definitely see them increasing it. Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then I think I missed one here. Brandon Bushnell says, instead of rebooting a Haunted Mansion film, I think a PG-13 type of Disney Plus series would be awesome. What do you think? You know what, Brandon? I am all about the series right now. I love series. I like something that I can come home every night and kind of binge it, I'm all for that. I think that would be really, really cool. I just don't want them, anything they do with Haunted Mansion though, I just don't want them to like cornball it out. Like, I don't want cheesy humor.
I think the Muppets.
They're fine.
Yeah, I think that was a good way to go with that.
Yeah,
wanted that kind of.
Yeah, Muppets are their thing, and they're awesome, But like the movie with, I think it was Eddie Murphy.
Oh boy. Oh no. Oh, the one that Disney would like to forget.
Can we get a poop emoji in the chat if you did?
Oh man. And I remember the studio just being so hyped about that, just believing that, if you like, Pirates of the Caribbean, but Eddie Murphy's, Haunted Mansion, that's gonna be huge, It was just like, oh, that didn't happen.
It was a hot mess. And
I remember seeing a display of that in the Disney Gallery back in the day. Like, that's just like, wow.
Unbelievable.
Think about that.
That was late term Michael Eisner, I tell you. That those days were pretty interesting.
Pretty interesting. Country Bears, no. Eddie Murphy, Haunted Mansion, no. But Pirates of the Caribbean, pretty good.
It's pretty wild. And then we'll do one more, then we'll head out because I do appreciate our 2 hour and 3 minute crew, by the way.
No, I know. It's, we've been up here for quite a bit. I'm so enthused that you guys have stuck around with us. Some of us for the entire time. That's awesome.
It's awesome. We love you guys. Thank you so much. And then Jay says here, imagine a Space Mountain overlay where you fly past Disney Plus previews. You know what, Jay? That's funny. You joke, but I think that's very much a possibility with Bob Chapek.
You joke, but I'm telling you. Do you remember that black box concept that we heard about a little while ago? Right? Yep. Listen, we joke, but the idea for that, and I think that this is where a lot of that enthusiasm came from the studio's perspective when it came to this, was that, hey, you could switch this over and it be an entirely kind of different experience featuring a different IP and so forth, and that gave you the ability to switch it on a regular basis to hype up some of the things that were coming out of the studio. At that time, it was more cinematic driven, obviously, but I mean, who's to say that we might not get a black box concept in the vein of maybe like a Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, where you just have that video footage just completely changed out, and now you have a completely different experience. It's a very interesting idea, and I think in our lifetime we might see that, and especially from a Bob Chapek era, like you said.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, we're kind of seeing like, in Avengers Campus, right? Like in the real time, like the synergy of like, the Loki in different costumes, right? And it kind of synchronizes with what you're seeing on Disney Plus and stuff like that. So maybe not fly past like actual like commercials.
That's a little bit.
That's a little much, but I think
that's
that,
a little
like,
much.
it's a little much, but having it tied to what's happening on Disney Plus.
Oh yeah.
If there is something that's pertinent that could be added in there, that's kind of, I could see it. I mean, we're seeing it already at Avengers Campus.
We're like I said, we're seeing it already, and the technology's there. It's out there, and it's that's some of the great brilliance of some of their new concepts that they've kind of brought out, and like the Wi-Fi controlled roaming vehicle, so to speak, and imagine that on a different sequence entirely programmed, and you could box off certain sections to make new rooms and stuff, so forth. I mean, you could do it. I think we might see something like that. I think because this is an old idea. This is going back to, like even John Lasseter. He was the guy that was like, oh, we should have stuff integrated into the parks, like, as soon as it comes out or whatever. There was an idea for like, what was it? It was, Tonto. It was Lone Ranger, right? And that was going to be a Big Thunder, it was going to manifest itself in the parks and in the form of a Big Thunder overlay, but done like when the film came out in theaters, which is just okay, whatever. Wow. And we saw a little bit of this with like Electronica, right? Electronica was coming out, and that that replaced Glowfest, and it created a huge enthusiasm for the movie. I know I saw it because I was I'd seen so much of that content in the parks, so. We've seen that idea kind of manifest itself in various ways over the years. I think, honestly, the next thing is attractions, and it wouldn't be previews. It wouldn't be a bunch of YouTube, ads going, flying through in Space Mountain, but you could see, kind of attractions breathed out of this, and make you hype for those films, or you see these things, especially in the streaming era, right? We see these things like, immediately when these things are released. So we are, we kind of keep up with the social media hype for them, so to speak. So we know these characters going into it in a lot of ways very, very quickly. And you can kind of see these things birthed out in the parks in the form of an attraction. I think it's fascinating. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to close out today's live show. It was awesome having you on again, Dre. Your family, man, your family. And I always love having you on and your insight. And it was really fun kind of diving in to all this Disney Plus stuff, Lucasfilm, Marvel, Pixar. It was great. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Aaliyah, Stuart Rayfield, Brandon Bushnell, Caleb, Epic Berserker, just everybody. Rudio. Rudio. Give it up to Rudio.
We got Pedro. He was first. 9:46 a.m. He says he was first. So Pedro, thank you, buddy, for coming. Rogue Disney, thank you coming. Rogue said, I missed his comment. I want to add him on here real quick. He says, can only stop in for a bit at Universal right now. We'll catch the replay. Awesome, Rogue. Thank you, brother, for all the support. We do appreciate it, man. So I got to actually head out because I actually have a maintenance guy here to fix my shower head.
I see.
So, and he's waiting. So I gotta get going, but I appreciate everybody and Dre, thanks again. But before we close it out, if you can let everyone know at home where they can find you on social media.
Make it real fast. If you want to interact with me, at @FashSky, that's right down there, just like it's spelled. Twitter's the best place for that. If you want to see me on, in video format, I'm on Freshly Squeezed. I'm at OrangeGirl55 at Freshly Squeezed, your source for juice news and info, squeezed fresh right from the Grove. And we've got to play one more drop here.
We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Love that. Okay.
Thank you all for watching. It's been a fun time. We'll do another live show again very, very soon. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay nerdy, y'all.